second. So finding the degree is the degree of a polynomial is determined by the highest exponent of any single term. And then in standard form, we start with the highest term and we write them in decreasing degree. So the first little bit, I'm just going to give you a polynomial. What we're going to do is we're going to combine any like terms that we have. Do you guys remember what like terms are? Same variable, same exponents, just different coefficients. So we're going to combine our like terms. We're going to write it in standard form, and then we're going to state what the degree is. Okay? Everybody ready? All right. So if you will, take a minute and write the first one down. When we do these, the very first thing I want to look at is, do I have like terms that I need to put together first? Like terms have to have the same variables with the same exponents. So if I have 4x minus 9x to the fifth plus 2, first question, do I have any like terms that I need to combine together? No. Okay. So then I want to write it in standard form. That means I'm going to start, bless you, with the highest degree. Which one of those has the highest degree? The 9x to the fifth. So I want to write that first, but we have to be careful with the signs. What sign's in front of that 9x to the fifth? A negative. So when we do this, we're going to write it as a negative 9x to the fifth. And we go in decreasing degrees. So that will be a fourth, a third, a second, a first, and a no x. Do I have a fourth power? No. Do I have a third power? Do I have a second power? Do I have a first power? Yes, that's that 4x. What kind of 4x? Is it positive or negative? Positive, so we're going to put plus 4x. And then the last term is the 2. That's my constant term with no variable. So that's my standard form. And I didn't put it in the directions. What would the degree be of this? Because in the homework, it's going to ask you to write the degree as well. What's the highest exponent? 5. So my degree is 5. And you don't have to write degree of 5. I'm just writing it so you know what that 5 represents. Okay, you can just put a comma if you want to, or just put it separately on another line. So that's what we're doing here, is writing in standard form and then stating the degree. Yeah, that's in directions. So if you'll go ahead and try 2 and 3. Write it in standard form and then state the degree. Be careful if you're looking at it, make sure you combine any like terms that there may be. And what I like to do, or what I usually do, is I go ahead and start writing it in standard form, and I just combine my like terms as I go. So I pick the highest degree. I look for anything else that's like that. If there are, I combine them, and then I write what the answer for that part is. And then I go to the next degree. Okay, so I kind of combine and do standard form at the same time. The one thing that people make mistakes on here is just the signs. That's the big thing. Just pay attention to those. So number 2, I have 3 minus x squared. What is my highest degree term? The x squared, right? Are you looking at me right here? Are there any other x squareds that I need to combine with that one? No. And what kind of x squared is it? Negative. And then I don't have an x to the first, and I guess it would help if I put that. And then I have a constant term, and what kind of 3 is that? Positive, and there's nothing to combine with that. So that is my standard form, and then what's the degree? 2. Okay, so I'm just going to put it below it. What's the highest degree in number 3? 8. Do I have multiple x to the 8s that I need to combine together? No. And what kind of 20x to the 8th is it? Negative. Okay. All right. I don't have an x to the 7th or a 6th or a 5th or a 4th or a 3rd, but I do have an x squared. And how many of those do I have? 2. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those as I write. I have a positive 3x squared and a positive 14x squared, which is going to give me a positive 17x squared. And then I have an x to the 1st, but there's only one of those, so I'll bring that down next. And then I have a constant term, but again, there's only one of those. It is a negative 8, and I will bring that down. So my standard form should be negative 20x to the 8th plus 17x squared plus x minus 8. And what's the degree? 8. Anybody have any questions? Not difficult, right? Not really. Just be careful of your signs and write them in highest to lowest degree. All right, so then we're going to add first, and then we will subtract. So I have some polynomials in parentheses, and I either have a plus sign or a minus sign in between them. Right now we're going to start with the plus signs. Parentheses are usually used to show multiplication, but these don't have anything in front of them really, do they, besides a 1? Sometimes you might put a number in front of that parenthesis, so you would have to distribute first. But I have the polynomial 5x squared minus 2x plus 3 that I want to combine with 3x to the 3rd minus 4x squared plus 7. Again, we're going to write these in standard form, starting with your highest degree. But before I do that, I need to get rid of my parentheses, right? Okay. So now it doesn't always have an effect, but there's a 1 in front of that, and there's a 1 in front of that. So if I were to pretend like I'm distributing, I'm not really pretending I am distributing. It just doesn't change anything. Sorry. So that would be 5x squared minus 2x plus 3. And then I also have this to distribute back here, which again, with addition, it doesn't really change anything. But I like to write it without my parentheses so that I can then start combining my terms, starting with the highest degree and going in descending order from there. So what would my highest degree be on that one? X to the 3rd. And there's only one of those, right? So we're going to start with that. I've got 3x to the 3rd. And then I have some x squareds. I have a positive 5x squared and a negative 4x squared, which is going to give me a positive 1x squared. Then I need my single x's. I have a negative 2x, and I don't have any other x, so I'm going to bring that down. And then I need my constant terms without a variable. You notice I'm putting one line under the ones. That's just showing which ones are similar or like terms. So then I have that plus 3 and that plus 7, which is going to give me a plus 10. And that's how I would leave my answer. Anybody have any questions? All right, if you haven't already, go ahead and do the next one. The quiz is going to be on adding and subtract. Well, standard form, state the degree, add, subtract, and then we're going to multiply them all. That's basically what your quiz is on. So it's not anything you haven't seen multiple times before. If I were to ask on number 4, I didn't, but if I were, what's the degree of number 4? 3. The highest exponent is a 3. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to rewrite this without my parentheses, just so that I don't think I have to multiply anything anywhere. Even though technically I am multiplying, positive 1. All right, and then if I'm looking at what I have, what is my highest degree? The x to the 5th, right? Do I have any other ones to combine with that? All right, so that goes first, negative 2x to the 5th. I don't have an x to the 4th, but I do have an x to the 3rd. I don't have any others to combine with that, so I'm going to bring it down. Then I have x squareds. I have a positive 3x squared and a negative 1x squared, which gives me a positive 2x squared. Then I have a positive 5x and a positive 5x, which is going to give me positive 10x. And then all I have left is that 9, nothing to combine it with. So in standard form, my polynomial is going to be a negative 2x to the 5th plus 6x to the 3rd plus 2x squared plus 10x minus 9. And if I were to ask what's the degree of that one? 5. Do I have any questions on the adding? All right, if you will, take a minute to write number 6 down. We'll do this one together and then I'll let you try it. You just have to be careful about what's in between the two parentheses. Is it a plus sign? Is it a minus sign? Tomorrow we'll get to the point where there's nothing in between, which means we multiply. But in this case, there is a minus sign in between. So this is going to have a little bit of an effect. Does it change anything in the first parenthesis? No. So I'm going to just bring all that stuff down. But what it does do is it changes everything in that second parenthesis because I have to distribute a what? That negative, it's a negative 1, right? So I'm going to distribute that to each term in that second parenthesis, which means it's going to change every sign back there. The first parenthesis did not change because there was nothing in front of it. The second one did because it had that minus sign, which is a negative 1. That we need to distribute. Then we can just start writing it in standard form, combining any like terms we have. What's my first term going to be? 3x to the 3rd, okay. And then I have a, 3x to the 3rd, then I have a negative x squared. And then I have a negative 2x and a negative 5x, which is going to give me negative 7x. And then I have a positive 1 and a negative 9, which gives me negative 8. And that would be my answer. Everybody good with that? Yeah? All right. Oops. Try 7 if you haven't already. I just want to see something real quick. Okay. This is our last one. I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure. I can say to just be careful of, I mean, I know these are relatively easy. Just be careful when you're combining your terms that you don't lose a piece. Sometimes people like just forget to bring one down, and so it causes it to be wrong. First parenthesis again does not change because there's nothing in front of it. However, for that second parenthesis, I'm distributing that negative, so that will change the sign of everything. If it's a negative, it turns positive. If it's positive, it turns negative. And then I go in standard form. My highest degree here is an x to the third. That is the only one I have, so I'm bringing that down. Then I have a negative 7x squared is also the only one of those that I have, so I'm bringing that down. Then I have a negative 1x and a negative 3x, which is going to give me a negative 4x. And then I have a positive 5 and a negative 2, which gives me a positive 3. And so that one in standard form is x to the third minus 7x squared minus 4x plus 3.